Okay. Hello. Welcome to New Money Moves with myself, Nafisa Manira, bringing you the latest tax, business, tips, strategies. Yes, to help empower you to build better bridges to this new economy so you do not get left behind. Yes. And as I said before, I'm Nafisa Manira Fudayo. I'm a tax attorney, CPA, and business owner. Yes. So let's get started with our topic of today. We want to make sure you are not going to be subjected to a $500 fine. Now, what are we talking about here? We're talking about the BOI. What is the BOI? It is the Business Owner Information Report. Now, if you all recall, this was a report that the government was basically requiring everybody who owns a business to fill out and disclose certain personal information. Because at the end of the day, what they were trying to do was see who are the individuals who owns these corporations, who are the individuals who owns the LLCs behind the LLCs behind the LLCs, right? And what government agency was basically doing this? It was called FICEN, which basically is the Financial Crimes Enforcement Networks, kind of like a sister brother, to the IRS. But basically, this was an agency that set out and said, "Hey, we tired of all these people money laundering. We're tired of all this people putting up all these LLCs, and then another LLC owns that LLC and another LLC to try to hide who they are and be able to commit all these crimes and launder all this money. So we need to see who are the individuals behind all this stuff, and we need this information disclosed, right?" That's basically what their reasoning is, at least what they told the public. The reasoning behind requiring this business owners information report. And initially, this report for any business, whether you're talking about a corporation, whether you're talking about LLC, any business is organized in the United States before 2024, they were required to submit this report by December 2024, right? So just a couple of months ago. So that was the initial deadline that everybody had to have. Well, actually, the initial deadline was January 1st, 2025, right? But they had to have that report come January 1st, 2025. They had to have that report submitted. All businesses, all business owners, right? But then a whole bunch of lawsuits started happening. And then because of these lawsuits, they had different injunctions. So we went to this on again, off again. Now we have to file it. Now we don't have to file it. Now we have to file it. So now, where are we? We are right now with the requirement, making it mandatory that all businesses file this report. This was just updated last week, February 19th, and they have basically lifted all these injunctions, right, that were stopping it being mandatory to submit this report. They lifted all these injunctions, and the government has basically said you're going to be required to file these reports, and they have to be filed within 30 days. So the new deadline is by March 21st, 2025, you have to file this report if you are a business owner. And the individual, so if you own an LLC that owns another LLC that owns another LLC, you have to peel through all those layers to get down who is the individual. Who is the individual that owns 25% or more? So any owner that owns 25% or more of that particular business, that business is required to report their individual information, right? And on this report, what has to be reported is all those individuals who own 25% or more, right? Their name, their home address, So no your UPS address and all that. No. Your registered agent address? No. It has to be the individual's personal home address. That has to be reported. And their ID. So you can submit a copy of your ID has to be uploaded. So either your passport or either your driver's license. This has to be reported. Okay. And you can file this form electronically. They have an e-filing system, or if you just wanted to fill out the form on your own and upload it into the system, you can do that, right? So this is very important. And the reason why you care, because I know all of y'all out there got y'all LLCs, and I always see these TikToks encouraging everybody, oh, you get your LLC, you got to have an LLC for this and an LLC for that. So I know y'all have a lot of LLCs, right? Out there. Well, guess what? For each one of these LLCs that you own, right, you have to file this form. Okay? You have to file this form. And I know some of y'all say, well, I owned an LLC. I formed an LLC, but I haven't really had any activity in it. I haven't really used it or anything like that yet, or whatever. Okay. Listen, listen. If you form this business, this LLC in particular, before 2021, and you have had no activity on that LLC, in other words, you don't have a bank account, you haven't had any transactions, you haven't used it to um, have any record any property transactions, real estate transactions, or anything like that. You have not did nothing to this with this LLC at all, not even had a bank account. Okay. That's considered what they call a dormant LLC. You are not going to be required. You're going to be exempt. You're not going to be required to file this business owner's information report. Now, that's if you form your LLC before 2021. So 2019, 2020, you formed it, 2004, for whatever reason you formed it, and it's just sitting out there. Okay. You're not going to be required to hire. But if you formed your LLC in 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, any of those other years, even if you didn't do anything but just form it, you're still going to be required to submit a BOI form, information report, for that LLC in every LLC that you own. Okay. Any LLC that you are a 25% or more owner, you will be required to report that. Okay. Now, what you do is you can go to the FinCEN website. So it's FINCEN.gov. And if you go on that site, again, that's that agency that's going to come up. It's the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. You go to that site, the home page, you will see the update that they just did on February 19th, and you will see BOI, and just select BOI. And on there, it would explain to you that you can go ahead and e-file it. Okay. Again, you will have to have your driver's license or a passport, copies of that, to be able to upload it to submit that form. Okay. And if you don't submit it, these are some penalties. There's a couple things I want you to keep in mind with this. Number one, there is a $500 a day fine. And matter of fact, it's really 500 plus, because they have the authority to increase. It was originally $500 when they originally set this out. As of now, it's like $591. So you will be fined $591 a day for every day that this is not filed. So remember, the new deadline is March 21st, 2025. So if you file on March 22nd, 2025, you're going to owe $591. If you file 10 days after that, you're going to owe $5,910. You get the point, right? File the form, right? Now, I know many people were upset about this or felt like their privacy was being invaded with this. I mean, to a certain extent it is, right? Okay. Because a lot of times this is the main reason why people file in Delaware, why they file in Wyoming, right? Because they want to basically be anonymous. They basically want to be anonymous and people not be able to find them. But one thing to keep in mind that whatever information that's reported on this form is not publicly available. So this information is going straight directly to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. It's not going to be a publicly searchable database so people can find out your home address and all this information. Okay. So it's not going to be something that's publicly available. Like, for example, if you go to your Secretary's of State website and you can pull up your business and then it'll show you like your registered agent information or something like that. So this information is not going to be publicly available like that. They said they're going to use it specifically to try to catch people who are money laundering or committing crimes or not reporting certain things. Okay. Now, I do want to let you know, let me make sure I've covered everything that I wanted to cover with that. LLC, okay. Uh, and again, who's going to be required to file? If you own an LLC, you're required to file. If you own a corporation, you're required to file. If you own a partnership in which you registered that partnership or created that partnership through your state Secretary of State, like for example, if you're in Georgia, the Georgia Secretary of State, you go on there and you register your business, you're going to be required to fill out this BOI form. Okay. And again, I told you can just go to the website, fencin.gov, and be able to do it electronically. File it and submit it electronically. It's very easy. Okay. If y'all want me to go a step by step, I will create a video step by step for you to be able to go through it. But believe me, it's very easy to go in there, and you have to remember to put your home address on there. Now, one thing on with reporting this in this form that you have to fill out is that there is a section on there that talks about corporate applicant. And this is, for example, if people have if they, let's say, hired a CPA or an attorney to register their business for them, or LegalZoom, or any of these online companies that set up your LLC for you, they would be considered your corporate applicant. You would have to list their information on there as well as your information on there. Okay. And depending on when you form this LLC, let's say, for example, if you did it in 2025 or you did it in 2024, that particular entity, let's say if it was a CPA, when you form that LLC, they might have went ahead and go ahead and submitted the BOI form already. Because some people have already submitted the BOI form because they were ahead of time and they weren't really trying to deal with all the injunctions and stuff like that. Okay. So just keep in mind that that BOI form needs to be complete. You don't want to have a $500 fine. And now that's just civilly. Criminally, you can be criminally charged for failure to what? Not file the form, not update the form, right? Because once you file it, it's kind of like a one-time thing, unless your address change, right? You move maybe to a different state and you get a different driver's license for whatever reason. Okay. So you will be required to file that form and to update it anytime you move or any information changes related to that particular LLC. And you have to file it for each LLC. Okay. Now, let's get to who is exempt, because not everybody is required. I would say 99% of businesses, small businesses in particular, are required to submit this form. Okay. But there are going to be some exemptions. And the main ones that I want to tell you that might apply to you are, number one, let me see, I have them here, listed here. If you are a business that has over 25 employees and you have revenue of $5 million or more, you will be exempt. Which kind of makes sense, right? Because if you have over 25 employees, you have over $5 million in revenue, you're more than likely filing your tax returns. You have U.S. bank accounts, right? You filing your payroll report. So they have enough government information on you, right? So they don't need you to file this business owner's information report because they already got your information, right? This is more so trying to make sure that every LLC, which there's over 40 million LLCs, that they have the person who's responsible for every LLC that exists. So they can find out what the heck is going on and where y'all moving the money. All right. So that's one exemption. Another exemption, which I already told you about, is if you have a dormant LLC. Remember, I said if you formed your LLC before 2021 and you did not have any activity on that particular LLC, right? No bank account, no transactions, it's not holding any real estate or anything like that, you don't have to file. Okay. Another thing is banks don't have to file, credit unions don't have to file. If you are a tax exempt entity, you do not have to file. Now, this is important because I know we have a lot of people out there who may have nonprofits, right? But if you have a nonprofit, but you're not actually tax exempt, right? You don't have your tax exemption letter. Maybe it's in process. Maybe you never got it. Maybe you let it lapse for whatever reason. But you will be required to file. So the only nonprofits that are exempt from filing, do not have to file this BOI report, are going to be those who are tax exempt. So if you have your 501c3 letter and it's in current good status, you do not have to file this BOI report, which again makes sense because you have a tax letter, they have your information already. So that makes sense, right? Any publicly traded company, they're not going to have to file. Why? Because they already got their information on file with the SEC, right? Kind of understand this. Insurance companies, they don't have to file. Why? Because all insurance companies have to have their information on file with states because they're subjected to the state insurance rules. Makes sense, right? Accounting firms don't have to file. Why? Because accountants and accounting firms are registered for the most part with the state and have all these types of rules that they have to follow, right? As a CPA, a certified public accountant, my license is through the state. So they already have all my information. Again, this makes sense. But everyone else has to file this form, and it probably only going to take about 10 minutes for you to file this form. And that's the latest update. And I would say, even though there's still a case that is headed to the Supreme Court trying to invalidate this particular law, I would say go ahead and file the form. It's not a big deal. Don't sit up here and wait because you don't know when this Supreme Court case is going to be heard. And if it's after the March 21st deadline, depending on what happens, you're kind of playing Russian roulette with whether they're going to invalidate the law or not, and then you're going to be subjected to the penalties. $591 per day. Okay, so go ahead. Go ahead and file your form. Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to say about that. I have my notes here. I want to make sure that you have everything you need on this. Okay, I think that's about it. Right. So I wanted to bring you this update on new money moves because we want to make sure that we're keeping up to date on our reporting and being organized. And this also is a great opportunity for you to clean up LLCs which you are not using. Right? Go ahead and clean up all these LLCs that you are not using, and so you don't have to worry about it. Okay. And if you're going to close your business or close an LLC, close it off properly. So you're not subjected to this and then having to go back later and all this other kind of stuff. So just go ahead and file the form and make sure you keep abreast of the form. And if you change your home address or you change the business name or anything like that, you take on additional partners, for example, or different LLC members, for example, If they are a 25% or more owner, you will be required to update your BOI report and submit their personal information. I hope this was helpful for you on this new Money Moves Monday. And let me know if you have any questions and subscribe to this channel as I bring you more business and tax and legal tips to empower you and your business on your entrepreneur business journey. I'm Nafisa Manira from New Money Moves. Have a fantastic week. Bye.